Hello, everyone. My name is Dan Stander. I'm here with Scott Benavides. We're here with ASA. We've been members for probably 3 decades, give or take, maybe a little bit more. Our family businesses have been members for longer. And we're here with a new resource for you called Spark, Safe, Profitable Automotive Repair Knowledge.
We're here in the iCar training facility here in Illinois to start a couple video series to hopefully help us with our business.
And those videos are going to be made to help you with any of the problems you have in your business. Scott and I have been very blessed to be in the industry for as long as we have been. We're now a little bit of the older guys in the industry, which is a little bit tough to take right now. But we've had so many great entities share training, networking, educational information with us that we want to share that with you, whether it's manufacturers, whether it's trainers, whether it's consultants. And we'd love to invite you to come along on this ride with us. And if you're one of those experts, we'd love to have you on this program so you can help others too, because our goal ultimately is for good, safe, proper repair. ASA Spark. There's ways to take good images and there's ways to take bad images.
Correct. The bad ones are the typical ones that you're just kind of quickly going around the car. And I've talked to many people that just think that the images are there to show that the car was actually involved in an accident. But it goes far deeper than that.
Well, and when we get a whole bunch of different people taking images in our shop, the CSR person in the front, maybe a technician in the back, and then you have the estimator, and then you have the teardown guy. Everybody's taking different images. So how do you work that out in your...
That's a great question, Scott, because here's what you have to consider. If the CSR is taking the images, which I don't disagree with, that they need, for efficiency and building and greater efficiency within that business model, I want to make sure that they are capturing the evidence and the severity of that evidence. If it's this big, then it needs to show that big in the images too.
Hey, Roger, so before you really get into the photos, is there really an initial order of photos that we should be taking? Or do we just start anywhere? Where would you start with your photos of if the CSR was starting to take some photos? What would you capture?
Well, the CSR, in most cases that I've seen, they're doing the 4 corner shots and some of the anomalies that might be on that vehicle. They're doing that first. But the real images come into play when you actually have created your repair plan and you know exactly the damages in the car. So now when you're putting things together in the viewfinder, you want to make sure you're capturing all those things from that single event.
And then are we trying to match that up to the estimate?
Yeah, well, as much as I possibly can, because keep this in mind, these images are creating evidence. And where you might get challenged and you feel this tension is on supplements. You're taking images of the car under repairs, and now it's like, how did that relate to the original event? So if detailed images are not captured up front, and the car is now being cycled and repaired and disassembled without methodically taking images, you're going to lose evidence, chain of evidence.
So, Roger, I think I love that term, taking methodical images. Because if we don't take methodical images, typically what happens is we don't get things approved. And I think one of the big errors we see, and again, I think everybody's guilty, insurance adjusters, auto body staff, is not getting good quality fixtures. A good example would be, let me open up my CCC app, and then I might need to take a photo from a couple various angles, maybe one up high and maybe one down low. The biggest problem I think that we see with people not being willing to do, again, our adjusters, and maybe the parking lot's wet, maybe not, maybe we can pull the car in, but it's how we get a great photo might be getting down on our hands and knees.
Yes.
And getting a close-up right here. And sometimes, again, this really makes me upset because, again, 10 to 15 seconds of getting down on your hands and knees, getting down on our back and getting a photo from down at this angle is really going to help document that file better.
Correct. And here's the thing. You want to take more than one image when you do this. You want to take it at this slight angle or this slight angle. And the reason for that is, as I look at the images and review them on my tablet or my smartphone, I come across the fact that I'm working on a small screen surface. I want things that when I can put it up on my monitor, that I can pick the best image out of several that I've taken so that it really accounts well for the damages that the car has.
And Roger, one of the mistakes we used to make at our shop, or take all the broken parts and set them on a bench or set them away from the vehicle when we took the pictures, but it really didn't show the chain of events. Is this a good idea?
It is. And that's a great point, Scott. As you take a look at different repair facilities, they will have a teardown individual. The problem is that they tear the car down way too quickly. And what the estimator should be in charge, or the repair planner should be in charge of that and say, okay, Dan, remove that bumper cover back. And then I am looking as the estimator behind that soft bumper cover to go, ooh, there's more damage. Okay, pull the bumper cover out, and now let me get an image of that. So it's showing that everything is related to that event.
It goes back to the unbroken chain of events.
Correct. And so I want to make sure that my disassembly person is working in unison under the direction of the repair planner so that I can capture my evidence so that everything lines up.
But I'll do it at the end of the estimate when all the supplement goes through.
And then this is where you get your challenges that they say, well, how is that related to the loss? And even though you're showing broken parts, they can't understand, because the way an insurance policy is written up is it's one single event, unbroken chain of events, meaning it had this impact and everything stopped. If something was prior damage or happened at a different time, it's now considered a separate loss. And so we want to make sure that we relate everything to the event that's part of that event so that everything lines up.
So it's very important to review our photos and make sure we're getting a photo of everything we need for the evidence on that file,
Yes.
to make sure we can make everyone else's job who's reviewing that file. And again, it could be the insurance company. It could be the customer paying for that. It could be the fleet. It could be the dealership. It doesn't really matter who's paying that bill. We need to have it documented all the same. One other thing I would say, again, no matter who's paying that bill, all files should be documented the same. Just because maybe it's a customer pay, you think you don't need to document it. We've all been down that road where all of a sudden the customer goes, that's getting to be enough where I'm going to turn it into insurance. Well, if you always do your process the same, it's never a problem.
No. And the other thing, too, is as you're going through the learning stages of this, because as I mentioned earlier, your image takers are not just because they have a camera. So what they want to do is every once in a while take a small to medium-sized hit repair, and then let your coworker that's never seen the vehicle review it with you. That's going to uncover a world of stuff, because now you're fine-tuning yourself before it even gets out to an anonymous bill payer or insurer to get that approved. So it's like I said, it's a learned process. What I saw over my 25 years of training and 7,000 people is that people would take images, and then I would ask them an hour later, where is this damage? And they would start pointing to the image. And my question was, your finger's not going in that electronic file. And then if I took and showed them those images again 7 days later, and I said, now where's the damage? They couldn't see it. What was happening is the brain was filling in for what it saw in 3D in a 2D world. And so by having those reviews done from time to time, it starts to build the skill level of the image taker so that they're better crafting out evidence for the file.
And I think that's what we really have to understand is we see it in the 3D field. All the reviewers are seeing it in a 2D photo. So
Right.
if we don't take those photos correctly, it could cause the supplement to get rejected.
And think about this too, Scott. I can move myself around to take advantage of that 3D world by bringing light reflections and shadows and so on. And so I can see the best outcome. I've got to now make that come into play in these 2D world of imaging. Keep in mind, I don't like to just call it imaging. It's evidence, because once the evidence is disturbed, then it becomes more difficult to come back and say, I need this now, and I need this now, and I need this.
So going back to part of this, Roger, maybe also accurately labeling your photos.
Yes, and using the nomenclature that the damage of the repair plan is calling for, so that things line up, so that this word that they call a filler lines up with this image of that same term called filler, so they line up on the repair plan.
Accurate estimate imaging help from ASA Spark.